Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for logging on to this video to do this quick run through of the Superhero U Dropbox Toolkit. My name is Natalie Weston. You guys have been in contact with me and Hadi Aziz. Before we get started, we would just like to say thank you for all that you're doing to make this program a success, and we really can't wait to see what miracles you all are able to make with your Superhero U programs and the awesome elementary school kids you get to work with. So today, we're just going to run through quickly the highlights of this Dropbox. We realize that there's a lot of information in here, and it can be really overwhelming. So if at any point going through this video something doesn't make sense, please feel free to email either me or Hadia, Slack us, call us, whatever works best. We're here for you. So when you first log on to this Superhero U Dropbox, you're going to see this folder that says read this second and a document that says read this first. That's because we need you to read this first. When you go into this document, it is pretty much an order of the highlights of what you need to do to get through the Superhero U Toolkit and what you need to do to get through executing the program. It's an overview of the Dropbox itself, so if you don't have time to watch this video or if you want to have a quick refresher, these are the highlights of everything that's in this Dropbox and the important stuff that we feel like you need to know. So after you read through all of that read this first document, head into the read this second document. Now that we're in this document, or not this document, this folder, I'm going to go through the best practices and tips, DMLC presentation, official logos, recruitment, and Superhero U execution folders. But before we get into those, I want to make sure all of you are aware of these three documents right here. The first is the master timeline. The master timeline is supposed to serve as sort of a step-by-step guide for everything you need to do to execute your Superhero U program. So make sure you and everyone on your team who's working to make your Superhero U programs a success, look through this. It tells you the highlights of what you need to be doing and when you need to be doing it, and all of the links to different documents that you need are hyperlinked throughout every single step of the way. After you've looked at the master timeline, you guys should already be familiar with these two documents, but I'm going to review them very quickly. The Superhero U contacts, list of everyone's email and phone numbers in case you forget where to contact us or anyone else to just talk about best practices, and these Superhero U DM updates. We know we have scheduled weekly calls going on with all of you, but if something happens and it's easier for you guys just and you don't necessarily have the time to call us right then and there and talk about what's happening, if you put everything in this DM updates document, then we know what's going on at all times, we're involved, and we can figure out the best way to help you raise the most money as possible. Now that that's out of the way, we're going to go into these folders. I'm going to start off with recruitment because that is the first step in creating a Superhero U program. A lot of you have hopefully already gone into this recruitment folder, but within it has everything you can need to know about recruiting a school to say yes to a Superhero U program with your dance marathon. Please take the time before you go through any meetings, before you send any emails to schools, even though you all hopefully have sent these emails to schools, to look at these documents and go through the advice. We've talked to a lot of experts within Children's Miracle Network and with other fields such as college recruiting to make sure that we have all the resources necessary for you to make these meetings a success and get the schools to say yes. After you've looked through these resources and you get a school to say yes to a meeting, we have this pitch deck ready for you to go to bring to the meeting. We have some with and without presenter notes, and it's essentially going to serve as a script for you all, so you really don't have to do too much work for this except for replace some things in the presenter notes with details about your school. So if you're going through it and you see things in red, you probably need to replace it with your name, your school. There are also some things in green that you guys will also need to look through. An example of a pitch from PDM is also in this folder, and you can see all the great success they've had there. So going back to the read this second folder, we're now going to go into Superhero U execution. So once the school says yes, you're probably wondering, how the heck am I going to execute this thing? We have a document to get you started right here called Details Once School Says Yes. These are some things that we want to make sure you and the school talk about to get these details ready to go. It's everything from the legalities and getting forms signed to making sure that the school is aware of everything that's going to be going on during Superhero U, the responsibilities on your end, the responsibilities on their end. So make sure after your school says yes, you sit down, whether it's in that meeting or in a follow meeting, and get answers to every single one of these questions. And then once you have all that information, please share those conversations with Hadia. We want to make sure that we're aware of what's going on so we can help you with whatever troubles you're going through and support you in any successes that you have. After you go through the details when school says yes document, there are four folders in here that are going to become your best friends. We've got communication, donor drive, event week schedule, and fundraising packets. Communication has everything that's going to be sent out to parents, teachers, and school VIPs, but in template form. Once you click on the communications folder, there's going to be these dance marathon student communication instruction packets. It can be very overwhelming when you click through these folders, so we've created these packets to serve as step-by-step guides through every part of the way through Superhero U. So you open this communication packets for students, scroll down to the table of contents, and it's going to tell you everything you need to do in regards to sending communication. We have things such as just a list of what documents you need to make sure the school has. We have sample emails. We have a schedule of when we need documents to go out. And when I'm saying documents, these are communications to parents and teachers. So we want to make sure the parents are aware that Superhero U is coming up, so they're ready for their child to fundraise. We want to make sure they know about things like the graduation ceremony and the field day. So if they want to take off work to come, they have plenty of time to tell their boss about it. So everything you need to know about communication is in these communication instructions. When you click on this For Schools folder, it's got a breakdown of everything that was in that communications packet, but just in template form, so you all can modify it for your specific program. Going out of communication and back into Superhero U execution, we'll now click on donor drive. Once the school says yes, one of the first things you need to do is get your Superhero U donor drive event set up so that way you can start getting students registered and start raising money. Everything you need to know about getting your donor drive event set up, about customizing your donor drive page to show your notifications, and how teams are going to work and how you can create specific links that will help make it easier for parents to register are in these packets. Just like the communications packet, we've created this compiled Superhero U packet for Dance Marathon students regarding fundraising and donor drive, and everything you need to know is in here, page by page, listed in the table of contents. On top of having things about donor drive, it also has information about offline donations and the cool prizes that you're going to get to hand out to the kids who meet those fundraising milestones. Backing out of donor drive and back into the Superhero U execution folder, we're going to go into the event week schedule. Once you've got your yes, you got your date set, you've got the donor drive event going, you're going to want to start planning the actual event week of Superhero U. This is going to have programming every single day of the Monday through Thursday of the week, and responsibilities for you guys to execute on Friday. And this has everything you need to know to do that. If you go to the sample event week schedule, the first tab, and you see these tabs at the bottom, it's going to break down what's going to happen every day. First tab is an FAQ, and hopefully you can answer all your questions there. But again, if you have more questions, please feel free to contact Heidi or I. And then you can go through each day, and it'll have a detailed overview of what's going to happen. And then anything that you need will be hyperlinked. So each day there's a script and a PowerPoint that we've created for you guys to use. You can click on one of these and it'll open. If you want to look at all the scripts and PowerPoints at once, they are right here. Make sure when you guys are figuring out who in your dance marathon is going to be coming each day, that they look at the scripts and PowerPoints before them, and make sure to actually play the slideshow and not just look at it in the editing mode. There are some videos and audio cues that are going to be used in those PowerPoints, and we want you to be prepared to use them and rehearsed and ready to go to execute a great program for your kids. Another thing in this event week schedule folder is the field day packet. This has details on all of the activities that you can execute for your field day with all of your superheroes. We do realize that you guys are creative and probably have a ton of supplies and a ton of ideas from what you do at your dance marathon every day or every year, so that we can put on other activities. If you want to modify these activities or do something completely different, that's totally fine. Just make sure to contact Hadia so she's in the loop and she's sure that everything that you're doing is okay, on brand, and safe. So backing out of event week and back into Superhero U execution, finally we're going to go into these fundraising packets. The fundraising packets for Dance Marathon students you've already seen. It's the donor drive information, it's information about ordering prizes, it's information about handling cash. We just wanted to put it in both places so it's easier to find. When you go to these fundraising packets for parents, this is all the information the parents need to know about the fundraising aspect of Superhero U. Now, whether or not your school is executing Superhero U is going to have fundraising teams determines which package you'll want to send out, and we've made one for both of them. So I'll just click on the one using Teams, we have the packets in PDF and PowerPoint format, so if for some reason you need to edit it, you can do it right then and there. And that is all of the folders in the Superhero U execution folder. Other documents that we want to make sure you look at are event execution need to knows and 1 week out reminders. With all this information, it's really easy for some details to get lost, so this is just a summary of things that we really wanted to make sure you didn't miss. So please, as you're planning your Superhero U event, go through this event execution need to know documents and make sure these items are taken care of. 1 week out before your Superhero U event, check over these 1 week out reminders. These are things that are vital to the Superhero U event happening, and if they're not taken care of by 1 week out, then there might be a problem going forward. We also want you to set up a phone call with Hadi and I 1 week before your Superhero U event, just so we can make sure that all the ducks are in a row, and if there's any problems that you guys are running into executing these things, then we can get them figured out so that way you guys don't have to worry about it going into your event week. Backing out into the read this second folder, so we're done with recruitment, we've done with Superhero U execution, now we have a best practices and tips, DMLC presentation, and official logos. Best practices and tips is advice if you're having trouble mostly recruiting, and advice for executing your event. So we know a lot of you guys have had trouble even just getting in the door of these meetings. If you've already talked to Hadi and some things aren't working, make sure to look at these folders for some new ideas. But again, the best thing you can do is reach out to us if you need help, but these resources are here if you would like to look through them. Fine, now we'll go into the DMLC presentation folder. For those of you who are at Dance Marathon Leadership Conference this summer, this is the presentation we gave to you guys back then. We were talking about this idea a few months ago. Realize that the program has changed quite a bit in the past few months, but if for any reason you want to reference that presentation, everything's right here. And finally, we are going into official logos. So before you use any of these logos, please make sure to read the protocol for logos document. It's pretty simple and straightforward. We just want to make sure everyone's using the logos in the same way. And then if you go through these different folders, you'll find all the different Superhero U logos. So we have some with the CMN Hospitals logo, we have some with the Miracle Network Dance Marathon Flame, some just generic, and some that are even colored especially to your school. So let's go to Boise State and see that we've got their school colors right there on the Superhero U logo. So however you guys decide you want to brand this, we've got all the options ready to go. Now, that was a very brief overview of everything in this Superhero U Dropbox. I realize that I probably spoke very fast on this overview and you probably have a lot of questions. Again, please feel free to reach out if anything was confusing or if you want to know more or anything, or if you have any suggestions on how we can make this Dropbox better. We're going through this for the first time just like you guys are, and so we're learning every step of the way, and we would really appreciate any feedback you can give. So thank you for your time, and I hope you guys have a great day.